Welcome, amazing agents and investors from across the country. Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2019, and this is Roleplay Call number 42. For some of you, we noticed we had 12 people in the queue at an hour ago, so for some of you, you've been waiting a long time. It's a little confusing, guys. We may go back to a 1 o'clock call because every week there's a dozen people that call in early. It looks like most of you made it back, so thank you for that. This week, our fearless coach, Chad, is somewhere in the wastelands installing water for drinkable water for people that don't have it. So this will be the Tim and Jim show. We're going to fill in for Chad this week. Just to be aware, I mean, there may be some things that we answer a little bit differently than Chad. As you know, these calls are not really scripted because the conversation can go so many different ways. But the essence of what we're always trying to do is to provide value first to these people. So if we answer with slightly different words, hopefully that'll give you several options on how to role play these calls and how to deal with these people when you talk to them. We do have 2 people in the queue. Tim, anything you want to say before we get started?
No, the only real thing I was going to say is that, Chad is not yet quite out saving the world and bringing water to the multitude. He is probably hanging out in the lobby bar right now at the hotel in Kathmandu. I talked to him a little while ago, and he's met his teammates for the trip. Tomorrow they're going to tour some of the UNESCO historical or preservation sites, and then they start the next day on their gazillion-mile motorcycle ride through the tundra. But he's doing fine and had pretty much uneventful travels, and everything was great.
Excellent. And for those of you that are new to this call, we've got almost as many people today as we get for the mastermind call. The mastermind call is an open forum. If at all possible, it's kind of like Jeopardy. It's, we want to keep it in the form of a question. If you can make your question in a format that we could role play it and kind of practice with you how to handle, the places you're getting challenged. If anybody has something that really works really well, share it with us. This is an open forum, and we will stay here for as long as an hour. We only have 2 people in the queue now. There is plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. And let's go to our first caller this week is phone number ending in 0335. You're up first.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, what's your name? I'm sorry.
My name is Patrick. I was just had a quick question. I'm just getting started and everything. I was trying to see using direct mail, how could I position myself to show the prospects that I could uniquely benefit them more so than anybody else.
Okay. And are you a realtor or an investor, or both?
An investor.
Okay. And do you buy and flip? Do you wholesale? Or do you do all of the above? What's your role typically?
Wholesale and flip too as well.
Okay. And what's your name again, sir?
Patrick.
Patrick, are you a subscriber to our service? Are you getting our leads now?
No, sir. I just mainly been getting a lot of the leads from the courthouse myself.
Okay. It sounds like you might have come from one of the conference calls that we did recently, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Patrick, I'll be I was a realtor and an investor myself for nearly 40 years. So you want to be the homeowner, the executor, and I'll be the investor, and I'll call you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hello. How you doing today?
Hey, good. I'm looking for Patrick. Is this Patrick?
Yeah, this is him.
Hey, Patrick. This is Jim Sullivan. I recently sent you a letter in the mail. Did you have a chance to read it?
Yes, sir. Actually, I did yesterday.
Okay, so you basically understand what it is we do. I have a whole team of people here that specialize in helping people like yourself that have inherited property. They're the executor of the estate. You are the executor of the estate, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, So Patrick, there's a lot of different ways that I can help you. What's been the most difficult thing for you so far? What do you need the most help with?
I don't know what to do with the property, really.
Okay. Is it an issue with selling the real estate or selling the personal property, or maybe both?
Both.
Okay, yeah. That's one of the most common things that we hear, Patrick, is it looks like, the property is in Florida. It looks like you're in Iowa, so you're 1,000 miles away from the property, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we hear that a lot, Patrick. One of the first things we can do for you, we do have a great estate sale company that we have affiliated with here, and right after this call, I could have them reach out to you. They can go over to the property, kind of take an inventory, even take pictures or do a video if you like, and give you an idea of what's there, and then they will sell. They'll either buy or often they'll do an auction and sell the things of value that you don't want, and then they'll typically do a yard sale to get rid of everything else, and then whatever's left they'll donate to charity. So they'll one way or the other, they'll get you as much money as possible from the personal property and get the house cleaned out so it's in good position to be sold. Would that be helpful?
Yes, sir, it will be.
Okay, great. I'll have them give you a call. And then after that, Patrick, it sounds like you do want to sell the property, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So once we get the property cleared out, Patrick, is it just you that inherited the property, or do you have siblings that are in on it with you?
I got some siblings.
Okay.
And 2 other sisters.
Oh wow! So there's 4 of you. that's good. So what we'll do, Patrick, is would you like them involved in the decision-making process, or have they pretty much left it up to you?
They pretty much left it up to me.
Okay. So you'll be checking and getting there okay, but you're kind of running point on the project, as far as getting rid of the property, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So what we can do, Patrick, there's quite a few ways that I can help you. I specialize, I have several companies here. One of the companies, we do specialize in purchasing property, inherited property. So after it gets all cleaned out, I can go by, take a look at it, give you a cash now price to purchase the property. Are you looking for a quick sale, or are you looking to get top dollar out of it? What's more important to you?
A quick sale. I just want to be done with it.
Okay, so putting it on the market with a realtor is not really an option right now?
No, because it might take too long to sell. I just want to get it over with
Okay.
as fast as possible.
All right, well, fair enough. But you know what, Patrick? Either way, I'll give you 2 prices. I'll give you the price that you could sell it for. We can sell, pay cash, close as soon as the probate's completed, and we'll take it as is, without any repairs or anything. And then if you're just curious, I can also let you know, we do have a realtor on our team, what the price would be if maybe you put a little money into the property, fix it up, and wait 3 or 4 months to sell it. But it sounds like you really don't want to do that, right?
All right.
Okay. All right, excellent. And I'll break script here. At this point, Patrick, I would start to ask you questions about the property. Are there repairs? What kind of condition is it in? And I probably would ask you at some point, if we can pay cash and close quick, do you and your siblings have an idea of how much you'd like for the property? Just see if we're even in the ballpark, because obviously you can't pay retail. But what I basically did there, Patrick, we train both realtors and investors the same way. You want to have a generic conversation. You want to come across as somebody that can help them, whether they're looking to get retail or they're looking to get top dollar. And that was a pretty realistic scenario. Often the personal property is the biggest issue. It's the biggest problem that they have. So right away, if you help them with that, you've already provided value to them before you even start talking about the house. What you don't want to do is call and say, hey, this is Patrick. I buy houses cash. Do you want to sell your house? Because that's pretty much what everybody else is doing. So, You want to figure out, a very wise man many years ago told me, figure out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. And so you want to be different than all the other investors that are calling them. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. Anything else we can help you with today?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I have a feeling one of our salespeople might be calling you after the call to get you signed up for the leads. Is that okay?
Yes, sir, that's okay.
Okay, great. I appreciate it, Patrick. We'll call you at the 0335 number. Thanks for participating today. All right, guys, we have 3 more in the queue. Good job. We got plenty of room for more. Next up is phone number ending in 4588. You're up next. Are you there, David? Phone number ending in 4588. Hello, I can hear you breathing. Area code 917, are you there? All right, if you do want to participate, I'm going to go to the next person. Just hit *6 and hit pound, and you'll go to the end of the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 9368. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Ben. I just signed up for all the leads, and I signed up last month, so I just got my first list. And I
Awesome.
pretty much have a question. I'm in the Maryland area, like Maryland, D.C. area. I pretty much have a question. I guess you kind of answered it with the last phone call. How can I tell whether the seller, because I'm focusing on wholesaling right now, and then eventually I'm going to move to buy and hold. But I'm focusing, how do you differentiate whether the seller or the probate people, whether they are willing to do a wholesale versus whether they just want to list it on the MLS or get, as much value as possible?
Sure. And I kind of role-played that with the last gentleman, but my own experience, Ben, I did both for 40 years, and there was rarely a case when I didn't know, like in the first 60 seconds of the conversation, which way it was going to go. If they have some, there is, I think it's after our Fast Track video number 1, there's a seller interview sheet. If you haven't done it, I would suggest go there, download and print that out and have it in front of you. It's a series of questions to ask the person, but kind of like I did there. And I mean, I can role play it with you a little bit again, but most of the time they're going to tell you right away if there's a compelling urgency. They're not going to have the patience, like mom died, we got to get dad in the nursing home, we need to sell right away. That isn't somebody who is going to wait to list the property. The 2 most extreme examples I had in my career, one of them, by the time the probate was filed, their father was 3 years behind in the mortgage and 3 weeks from sale at the courthouse steps. I mean, they did not have any other options, and I jumped in. I actually had to hire a foreclosure defense attorney to stop the sale, and that was the most profitable deal I ever did, and they were very grateful. I had another one very similar. When I asked them that question, how many heirs are involved, there was 12 of them.
Wow.
And,
Wow, crazy.
I know, and I think half of them had already spent the money. So by the time I quickly realized that the only thing all 12 were going to agree on was getting paid like next week. So, but generally, when you just ask them that series of questions, like what's the most important or what's the most difficult thing for you so far, and ask them that question, what's more important to you, getting it sold quickly or getting the most money out of it, and just shut up. They'll usually elaborate enough that they'll kind of tell you right away. And I've shared this on other role plays. There was a couple people that were like on the fence, and they wanted both prices, like I offered to give Patrick. And I really always went out of my way to be brutally honest with the people. If they wanted to know both prices, I would tell them, your house is probably worth $300,000 if you put a little money into fixing it up, and you've got 3 or 4 months to sell it and a couple more months to close. But honestly, for me to buy it and close quickly, the best I could do is $240. And
Right.
I can't tell you how many people went ahead and sold it to me for the 240, but they said every other investor they spoke to had kind of lied to them about the value, so they really appreciated the fact that I was being straight with them and they trusted me. Because let's face it, today people can go to a million websites and put in their address and get a pretty good idea what their house is worth. You know what I mean? You're not going to you're not going to spill the beans by telling them. So you might as well be honest with them and really provide the value and let them make the decision. Also, Ben, is make sure you have a really good realtor on your team, because there were several that I remember doing where I went ahead and listed it, and then 2-3 months later, when it hadn't sold, they got a lot more flexible. So if you have, are you a realtor also, Ben, or just an investor, or both?
No, I'm just an investor, just doing wholesaling right now. I know one realtor,
Okay.
but she's the one that sold my current house to me, so maybe I'll talk to her.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Refer the ones that, when you ask that question and there isn't an urgency, say, okay, well, that's great. I'll have, Betsy, the realtor on our team, give you a call back. She's great. She's local here. Give her a little plug, She sold thousands or hundreds of homes, and she'll give you a call right back, and she'll do her best to, get you top dollar for the property. And then make sure Betsy knows that if the situation changes and a few months go by and the people get more motivated, that she better not call any other investor. You better be at the top of the list.
That's true.
It's a way of kind of locking that property in for yourself and making sure, that no other investor is going to buy it if they're not ready to deal up front.
No, I agree. One more quick question. So as soon as we get these lists, I heard somewhere that the probate process can take a long time, like between 6 and 9 months. I'm doing Maryland. It might be different for me. So is that the case? Like we won't be able to list the property or wholesale the property for 6-9 months?
No, and honestly, that's a bit of a misconception. Tim, pipe in if you know differently, but I don't think there's any issue in Maryland. The only place in the country that I'm aware of where it can take that long is California. What happens, though, Ben, the attorneys file the probate, and they tell the heirs, okay, I filed your probate, you're not going to be able to sell for a few months. So vast majority of the time, the executors, the heirs, are in a hold mode. And your first conversation, you can let them know, hey, do you want to be closing in August or just getting started at that time? Let's go ahead and sign the contract. You can, when they're appointed the executor of the estate, they're authorized to sign contracts, they can list with a realtor, they can sign with an investor. They just can't convey clear title until the probate is completed.
Right.
So honestly, for a wholesaler, that's kind of an advantage, because you could get it under contract and it gives you a few months to find your end buyer before you actually have to close.
Right. Okay.
And Tim, I'm not aware of anything in Maryland that would be 6 to 9 months. Are you?
No, and the other thing that you need to know about is that in Maryland also has it's one of the states that has the small state affidavit, so oftentimes the administrator of the estate, the personal rep, can file a petition for administration of the small estate, and that's when there's less than $50,000 in assets, or I think there's a different rule in regard to if there's a spouse and there's less than $100,000 in assets, they can file the petition for small estate, and it changes the way that gets it done faster and all of that. And in most cases, the things that you're going to see in your list are ones where the value of the estate's larger and all that sort of stuff. So, but there aren't any specific delays built in.
Okay.
I mean, and Ben, it's like anything else. You can get a title company that can get a deal closed in 5 days, and others take 5 months. A lot depends on the efficiency and the experience of the attorney, how quickly he gets it done. There can be, in any state, there can be situations that prolong it if the family starts feuding or challenges the authority of the executor, but those are kind of one-offs. Those, most of the time, nationwide, these get closed somewhere between 3 and 4 months. About 3.5 months, I think, is the average. So but honestly, as an investor or a wholesaler, use that to your advantage. It gives you plenty of time to work on finding your end buyer. Also, a lot of times the heirs are not local, and they'll, once you sign a contract, they may be willing to give you access to the property to show it. It's a lot easier than if somebody's living in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And just general rule of thumb in Maryland, it potentially is a bit longer than in some states, and that's simply because the legal process takes a little bit longer because there's a bunch of forms and all that sort of stuff. But one of the things that you can do to add specific value in that particular state is to, first off, you need to determine if the attorney is getting money based on time. And what I mean by that is that oftentimes the attorneys don't get paid until the estate gets settled. In some cases, they are getting paid throughout the process based on some of the steps that are going on. So if you have the opportunity to engage with the probate attorneys, and we can talk a little bit more about that maybe in another subject as it comes up, but if you're meeting with that attorney, sometimes the attorney is looking for somebody like you who knows the process, becomes familiar with it, and can help them get it done expeditiously so that you're the key to them getting the path to money quicker. And that's one thing you need to be aware of in your state. You can help, and if you find the right attorney that you can work with, that's the key to the mint.
Right, so I'll tell the attorney that I can find a buyer for this house quickly, faster than the MLS, for example.
You bet. And the other side of it is not just that, but I mean, if you think about the other aspects of the challenges that people have, one of the things we typically find is one of the most difficult parts of this process is literally getting the house ready to sell. And I don't mean staging it or anything else. It's removing the personal possessions of the person who has deceased, and that becomes an emotional issue and all of that. And if you can provide an estate sale company that can come in and help get things boxed up, moved out, you just basically can say to the people that you're dealing with, hey, you and your family, you go through and determine the things that you need, the things that are important to you, and then we'll bring a crew in and we'll take the pain away from this. We'll help you get it all boxed up and moved out, and they'll sell what they can, and they'll donate what needs to be donated, and they'll take care of all that for you. And that is one of the quickest things to do to help expedite that process, and one of the things that you probably should discuss with your people when you talk to them. That's a high value add that you bring to the equation.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. All right, thanks. Thanks so much.
All right, very welcome. Good job, guys. We're not having to beg this week. We've got 6 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 4932. You're up next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How's it going? Going off your last phone call, I actually have an additional question. I have my real estate license. I'm in California, Los Angeles, and after just hearing what the previous phone call that the probate leads could be a little bit more longer in California than in other areas.
Yep.
So for me, I would just say, what would be the quickest route to a sale? Like, would you rather do probate leads for FSBOs, absentee owners? Because I'm just starting out and I'm just trying to see who's
Yeah.
like what's.
Are you one of our subscribers?
Honestly, I just came across you guys' program about 2 weeks ago, and I had another question upon that as well.
Okay, because this we'd be glad to call you back, and matter of fact, I will after the call have one of our salespeople kind of explain the overall process, how it works, and how it differs from FSBOs and expireds. Because the purpose of this call is to role play objections that we're getting when we're dealing with probate leads. And actually, the call tomorrow would be a better place to address that. What's your first name?
Marlo, M-A-R-L-O.
Okay, Marlo, can we call you back after this call, and I'll have one of my salespeople kind of explain everything to you?
Yeah, that'll work out perfect.
Okay, not trying to put you off, but that's the purpose of this call is for people that specialize already in probate, and we want to deal with their issues. So we'll call you back, and we'll answer that question right after the call.
Well, I do have a quick question upon the probates, really fast.
Okay, sure.
I like how you give out 2 options to the sellers. Or you give the retail price if you have time,
right,
or the wholesale price if the person doesn't have time. Do you recommend doing that every time to the sellers, or you want to give them 2 options?
No, most of the time, 95% of the time, they're going to answer in the initial conversation when you ask them what's the most difficult thing for you so far. they're just going to spill their guts, and they're going to tell you if there's an urgency. If there's an urgency, then, you know, you don't necessarily need to. But what I said was if they ask you for both, be honest with them, because you're probably the only investor that's going to be doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So you just ask them what's the biggest problem, and they're just going to unload it all and let you know.
Exactly.
Perfect. And then I'll be waiting upon when the associate call me.
Okay. Perfect, Marlo. Thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 4588. You're up next.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
That's great. My name is Michelle. I'm the ISA for David. So I just have one question. Last week, I actually had a one-on-one coaching with Chad on how I can go about my calls because I'm the ISA. So he showed me what approach I should have when calling probate leads. But there is one objection that I'm getting, which I don't know how to get around. The objection is a probate lead says, my attorney is taking care of it. I don't need your help. So when I hear them say that, I say, okay, sure, great. It's good that you have your lawyer's support. He can take care of any legalities that may be involved in the process. We pick up where your attorney leaves off, and oftentimes that means doing about 75% of the work necessary to settle the state. You don't have to do anything today. All that you have to do is get that initial step of just, you know, citing down the things that you need to overcome and just finding out what you can do to get them done much more efficiently when the time is right, so you can reach yours and everyone's goals with the least amount of inconvenience. And then I say, does that make sense to you, PR? And they say, no, I don't need any more help than what I already have. So I'm stuck at that point.
Perfect. Let's role play it. It's Michelle, right?
Yes.
Michelle, you be the homeowner, and I won't do your voice, but I'll be Michelle the ISA, or I'll be Michael the ISA. How's that? Okay. Ring.
Hello?
Hi, I'm looking for Michelle.
This is her.
Hey, Michelle. This is Michael. Michael Sullivan. I had sent you a letter. I just want to make sure you got it.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay, well, that's fine. You've got me live on the phone, so that's even better. I had sent you a letter to explain that, you know, I'm down in Florida, and we have a whole team of people that specialize in helping people like yourself that are the executors of an estate. So, Michelle, what's been the most difficult part of the process for you so far?
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, we specialize in helping people that have inherited property like you. If you have personal property, we can help you get rid of that. We have contractors, we have clean-out crews, we have investors if you're looking for a quick sale, and we've got a great realtor if you're looking to sell the property. So are there any of those services that you need help with?
Well, I have my attorney taking care of it. I don't need any more help.
Okay, perfect. So just real quick, it sounds like you're in a hurry. Your attorney's already taken care of helping you switch over your insurance?
No.
No? Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I asked then, Michelle. That's one of the biggest issues that people are not aware of. A vast majority of insurance policies do not cover properties if they've been vacant for more than 30 days. So I'm assuming that house has probably been vacant for more than 30 days, correct?
Yes, it's been.
Okay. Well, I have the good news is I've got two local companies here that specialize in vacant property insurance. I mean, I'm sure you want to get that protected. You know, we're in Florida. We're going into hurricane season. You know, and it may take a few more months to complete the probate. I'm sure you don't want to go through hurricane season without any insurance, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do right after this call, if it's okay, I'll have Bob, he'll give you a call with ABC Insurance. I can't remember the name of the company that Chad recommends to break script, but I'll have him give you a call. You know, he can bind it today. And then, you know, if you need any more help with anything else, is it okay if I check back with you in a week or so just to see if there's anything else I can help you with, Michelle?
Okay.
Okay, great. What we're referring to there is, to break script a little bit, Michelle, generally, what the answer you were giving was great, but it was probably just an excuse. So they probably, when you go into that big long explanation, it's not going to work if generally the people just, you're saying the same thing or close to what everybody else said, and they're just trying to get rid of you. So it's just like a standard answer that my attorney's handling everything. And that's just a good pattern interrupt. You know, before you hang up, I just want to make sure your attorney's handling everything, so he already helped you switch the insurance. That's very effective because almost none of them even mention it. And the reality is, I mean, it's rarely an issue where the house does burn down, but it is an issue that they should be aware of. And by you pointing it out to them, and nobody, even in their attorney, has ever mentioned it before, it really gives you credibility. And all you really have to do there, as a matter of fact, if you go into alltheleads.com and put in the search bar, put in uninsured property or vacant property insurance, and there's a couple companies nationwide that Chad routinely recommends. Tim, do you remember the name of either of them? I don't offhand.
I don't, but you know what? If we need that info, if you need the info, just drop a note to support@alltheleads.com, and we'll jot it right back to you and let you know who it is.
Yeah, there's a couple national companies, and you pay a little. I know Lloyd's of London does it. When I buy property here now, I don't even bother with State Farm anymore because in Florida there's so many inspections and it's so cumbersome. I just go with one of the vacant property insurers, and in Florida, Lloyd's of London is a good one where you can just, those homeowners can call back and have a policy in a couple hours. But the whole point of that, if there's something like that the attorney is not helping them with, now you could be confrontational and also say, oh, so the attorney's going to help you sell the house, but that comes across as being a little bit sarcastic, and right. You already know the answer. It's much better to take a less confrontational approach like the insurance, and more often than not, that'll at least get their attention and, get them engaged in talking to you, and it makes them realize that you really are trying to help them. You've just provided some value that nobody else has ever provided or even mentioned to them.
Okay.
Make sense?
I see. Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. And if you do need, if your broker or the agents there don't know of a vacant property insurance company, just send us an email to support. We'll send you a couple national ones.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you participating. Sure. We have 3 more in the queue. We got plenty of time, guys. Next up is phone number ending in 0036. You're up next. Are you there? We have a lot of secret agents this week. Phone number ending in 0036. Are you still there?
It helps if you turn the mute off. My name is Andy. I'm an agent in Wisconsin.
Hey, Andy.
Hey. I kind of have a little bit of a different question. I have been trying to approach probate attorneys, and either maybe ones that I have are affiliated with the Chamber of Commerce or a Rotary or something where I have some kind of warm connection. Tomorrow evening I have like a little, cocktail party kind of thing, and I suspect that 2 are there, and I'm always a little hesitant to, just stick out my hand, and I usually lead with, my USP, and then ask them what's the most difficult thing for them as far as serving their probate clients.
Perfect. And what's your USP for the attorneys?
Well, I say I help families navigate a stressful time and process to get the property cleared out, repaired, and sold quickly for the most money. And then I show them how to invest or protect their assets going forward. And I usually say something like, I'm certain that executors ask a lot of legal questions to their attorney, as you're usually the first ones that they deal with settling the case.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I was just going to suggest. Ask them the question is, because, we know attorneys love to talk, but get them talking. Ask them, even individually, ask them the question, what's the biggest issue that you get dragged into that really isn't part of your job? And not only the questions, but do you get dragged into, recommending estate sale companies? How do I sell the personal property? Any other questions you can think of, maybe just ask them that open-ended question. What's the biggest annoyance or the biggest frustration for you in getting your job done as far as dealing with, with the overall process that isn't really related to your job? It's a long question, but
right. And
yeah,
and in essence, have an answer for when they say, well, there's no real estate involved. My answer would be, it doesn't matter. There are all kinds of things that have to be done, and I still have a team of people that can work on solving those issues.
Yeah, that's perfect. Do you hear that a lot with the attorneys, that there's no real estate involved? Probably not, right?
No, not especially, but I've had one that said, well, we want to hold on to that property, even if they go into a nursing home, we're not sure what we want to do. They asked me if I could find a reliable long-time renter, and so I've had to see if I can, band together with a property manager, and I might be able to offer that service. But usually there's something. But I always find that attorneys. I guess the point is that I try not to lead with so much being. I try to say a probate expert and not so much a real estate agent. And
no, that's
because
perfect.
they'll just immediately think that it's real estate. That's all I want.
That's perfect. And Andy, I know you're relatively new to our company. Have you done any probate deals in the past?
I have not, but I
Okay.
have a really strong why in that I was the executor of a will, and while I live in Wisconsin, this home was being disposed in southern New Jersey, and so I know how poor my real estate agent was and how much of a bully they were as far as getting things cleaned out and taking taking their recommendation without really even offering any choices.
Sure.
And that's
no, that's perfect. And this meeting that you're going to go to tomorrow, is it going to be one-on-one conversations with the attorney, or are you going to get a chance to get up in front of the group?
No, it's not a part of the. It's just a mixer between two Rotary clubs, and I've analyzed all the probate deals in my county for as long as I've been a subscriber, and I know that a few of them have run 6 deals a year, something like that, 4 deals a year. So I know that they have business, and so that's kind of where I'm going at.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, no, I would share your USP, share your personal story, let them know that you recently affiliated with a national group of hundreds of experienced probate experts, and let them know that you're there to make their job easier. And again, just like you're doing with the executors, what's been the most difficult part of it for you so far? What is the one thing that you get dragged into that you'd rather not do, and can I take that off your plate?
Great.
Good.
Okay.
Good open-ended questions. Tim, anything you want to add?
No, not really, other than the fact that, going after the attorneys is obviously one of the things that we highly recommend, and it also helps when you're talking to the attorney that you can also say to them that because of the fact you're a probate specialist, you're also looking for an attorney to recommend, and you frequently are contacted prior to a probate even starting by people who are looking for a good family attorney, so, it's a quid pro quo. You have things to offer them as well. So if you're going to be talking to the attorney, have something to offer them along with getting some help from them.
Okay, sounds good. I agree with that. All right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, Andy. We have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 3110. You're up next. Are
yes,
you
hi,
there?
Matt. Yep, I'm
Hey,
here.
Matt. Yes, sir.
Just real quick, I wanted to role play, but I heard the other guy, I think it was Ben, sign up for the program. I'm a real estate agent in Maryland, D.C., not focused on wholesaling, so I could definitely help him out. So
Awesome.
How do I get in touch with him? I just heard him speak up. So
yeah, Matt and Ben, are you both part of our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind?
yes, I am. That is.
Okay, Ben, if you're not, go to All the Leads Mastermind and join, and then Matt, if you would just post in there. We try not to without permission, or if both of you want to just email support at All the Leads, we'll put you in touch with each other. I would say do both.
Awesome. Okay.
Ben, go to All the Leads Mastermind, and that's great, Matt. You've got a great realtor already, Ben. There you go.
Yep. Thanks so
much. All right, perfect. The queue is now closed, guys. That'll take us up to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 6677. You're up next. Are you there? 6677.
I'm going to start playing the secret agent theme, Jimmy.
I know it. That's all right. They're all behaving well. They're muted until they get on the call. Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yes.
So I think we spoke last week, and I got the probate mastery course. And so
great.
I went through it, and I have a couple of questions. I know this is the role play, so this is kind of perfect for me. I'm 22, not that age is really an issue, but I'm thinking of how I'm going to approach the attorneys, the probate attorneys, right? And
right.
I was actually, I just drove by a house and I called this guy, and he was a probate attorney, right? And I started to explain like what I do and kind of what I really want to do. And for some reason he was not very responsive to it. He was like, okay, like I'm in the middle of court right now, like, and I'm like, okay, like what's a good email I could just kind of shoot you over some information about, the valuable services that I'm hoping to provide, and would love to kind of talk with you a little bit more about that. And he was like very unresponsive. And so I just kind of wanted to hear y'all's thoughts, and then maybe some ways to kind of handle that and some tactics to move forward.
Where did you say he was? Did he say he was at court?
No, he told me that he was in court. So I drove by a house that said it was for sale by owner, and I just called the number. And the number, unbeknownst to me, belonged to a probate attorney. Like, I don't know why it belonged to a probate attorney, but the guy, I guess, was selling his house, and I was, like, asking him about it, and then he was like, oh, but I'm in court right now. And I said, oh, why are you in court? And he said, oh, I'm a probate attorney. And then I started to kind of go into my pitch, which is what Chad talked about. And I started to talk to him about it, and he was not very responsive to it, right?
Well, imagine that, an abrasive attorney, that's got to be the first, right? Just kidding. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, all I was going to say is, just as a general rule of thumb, if the guy told you he was in court, one of the ways that I would have done that right then is said, well, look, I don't want to bother you right now, but I do need to talk to you about this property. When's a good time we can talk? And don't try to get him to talk to you when he's already told you he's locked up doing something else. That would have been probably a better way to handle that one right on the spot. And then you could have gotten to him when he may have had time to do it, and he would have remembered you, so he would be giving you permission to call him at an easier time.
Okay. So another thing, Jim, thank you very much. Another thing is, I've just started this. Like, I started doing the wholesaling and investing about a month and a half ago. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I was a little bit, I'm concerned about my lack of experience in approaching, probate attorneys that have been doing this for 30 years. Are there any kind of ways that you would recommend someone going about doing this? Like, I've started to reach out to people like junk removal and estate liquidation companies to start to assemble a team. I'm very passionate about this, but I am, like I said, I am a little nervous about kind of approaching them with a lack of experience and not being able to provide value to them, which is what I want to do.
Well, a couple things I'd say for starters from that standpoint, and that's this, that I don't know if you're, like most people, but I think probably if you find that you're having that level of concern, easiest way to get the experience that you need is to go out and, break a few eggs. And you got to realize that there's a whole bunch of people out there that are in the business. There's lots of attorneys. There's all that. And the easiest way to get the more comfort with it is to go sit down with a couple of them. And if you're obviously quite serious about doing this. And one of the things that we always recommend is that you go actually sit down with a probate attorney, even if you've got to go buy an hour of their time. Go knock on the door, show up, find a way to get an audience with that probate attorney, and start asking some questions. Say, hey, I am new at this. Here's what I've done. Here's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for some guidance, and I'm going to be real good at this, and I'm going to find a lot of people. I'd be happy to refer some folks to you, but in exchange for that, I really need some help and some guidance. And that's a great place to start that conversation off with. Just ask. Just ask the questions.
It's interesting. I was going to give a similar remark. When I got my real estate license the day I turned 21, and I used to tell buyers, hey, I work with buyers initially before I learned that it was smarter to work on the listing side. But I used to tell people, hey, you're going to be my first sale. If I don't know the answer to something, I've got a great broker. I can certainly find out. I think that's a really good idea. Find a player. Attorneys love to talk, and they love to feel important. If you can find somebody that's willing to sit down and educate you, you hear fake it till you make it, but that's not as sincere as it is sitting down with somebody and saying, right. hey, can you teach me? Can we provide value for each other? The other thing, have you seen our trifold brochures that we recommend that you leave with the attorneys? Have you seen those on our website?
I have not. I just completed the sales component of the course, like 3/4 of the way through it, so I haven't even seen
Sure.
it.
Yeah, I'd recommend get 50 or 100 of those printed and always have one in your car. They leave a really, really good impression, and we have agents that will have a route. They'll just pick out 5 attorneys and go by each office every month and refill the brochures. It's a reason for them to show up at the office and feel like they're providing value. And often the attorneys will call back and say, I'm out of brochures, bring more. If you can show up with a professional, polished product in your hand, and I think it gives you a lot of credibility. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You're not the attorney. Is the attorney. If you've taken probate mastery, I promise you know more than 90% of the realtors, 95% out there about probate, and you're never going to know as much as the attorney is going to know. So if you can find one that you can click with, I love Tim's idea. Even pay him for an hour to sit down and get a little education, and tell him that hey, you're going to be my attorney, and I want to be your probate expert. Can we do business together? You just got to find the right person that's willing to help you. But a good way to do it, get some brochures printed and start making the rounds until you find an attorney that you click with.
Wow, thank you very much. That was very helpful and directional. I feel much more confident, and I'm gonna jump on the internet right now and check that article out and get it rolling.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for participating. We appreciate it. You got a great attitude with that. With that attitude, you're going to do well with this. Just keep at it. Come back and let us know how you're doing.
I was going to say the same thing. That attitude is going to go a long way because you're not being pretentious and you're willing to admit that you're new and not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. It's a great place to start. People love to help people who show initiative. The good book says the Lord helps those that help themselves. Get out there and help yourself.
Right. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for your time, guys, and I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. 2 more in the queue. That should take us right up to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 0982. You're up next.
Hi, this is Jonna. How are you guys doing?
Great, Jonna. How about you?
Good. I just want to role play a call that I got, and really there was no room for me to even say anything else to him. So I just wanted to know how you would follow up with this person. So if you want to call me.
Yeah, well, you're really going to put me on the spot, but I'm up for it. Ring, ring.
Okay. Hello?
Ring, ring. Hey, I'm looking
Hello?
for Jonna.
This
I'm looking for... Hey, Jonna, this is Jim Sullivan. I had recently sent you a letter, and I just want to make sure you got it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're probably getting a lot of mail. You know, we have a team of people here in South Florida that help people that have inherited properties and help the executors of the estate.
I'm sorry. It's going to be in. We're just not selling it, and we're not doing anything. It'll just be in probate forever. And then he hung up.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He hung up.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to handle an objection to a hang up, but what I would do if you have the chance to jump in there, you might even want to call him back and say, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Joanna, real quick, I understand, you know, it's going to be in probate forever and you're not doing anything with it. I just wanted to real quick make sure that you have vacant property insurance on the property, make sure it's insured. Have you switched the insurance?
Click. I mean,
okay.
You know, I was thinking,
yeah.
You know, because I couldn't even find out if there was a property, you know,
yeah.
So that was the issue. I mean, I don't even know what he's dealing with. So
yeah.
I was thinking about just circle back around. Maybe he was having a bad day and see, you know, what I could do on another day.
I used to give people I was pretty generous when I was the prospecting machine. Give people 3 strikes and you're out. Just assume he's having a bad day. Maybe schedule him. I probably wouldn't call him back tomorrow, but maybe 3, 4, or 5 days down the road, try him again. And if you get the same response a few times, then, you know, next. There's people out there that are willing to engage with you and, you know, really need your help.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm assuming you're not getting that reaction very often, correct?
No.
Okay, so it's good that it's not you. it's them. It's them. They are having a bad day. So just you have a good attitude, though. Thank you. All right, last up is phone number ending in 7122. You're up last this week. Brian, are you there? 7122. I think Brian is probably struggling to unmute himself. Hit what do you hit? Hit 1 if you haven't done so already, Brian. Are you there, Brian?
Want me to play the Secret Agent song again, buddy?
Yeah, you can just tell him in the background. Since Brian is last,
Hello?
we'll give him
Hello?
There you go.
Okay.
We had confidence in you, Brian. We can hear you now.
I appreciate it. Thank you for taking my call. So I've been calling probates for the last year, and I've had success in it.
Good.
I guess my big stumbling block, though, is getting callbacks, because I'll always leave a message. Rarely do I get a callback. Do you have any thoughts or ways to get people to call you back?
What kind of a message are you leaving?
I tell them who I am. I'm a realtor, so I tell them who I am, what I do. I always provide, value, how I can help them with as far as the services, clean out, estate sales, and that's basically it. In a nutshell, just offering my help, my assistance.
Yeah, it sounds like what you don't want to do, and Chad has said this many times, and I find the same thing. You don't want to try to completely sell yourself on a voicemail. It just doesn't work. I would leave a much more generic message like, hey, this is Brian. I was looking for Bob. Hey, Bob, had an important matter that I wanted to talk to you about the estate of John Smith. Hey, give me a call when you get a chance. Very generic. You don't want to be a realtor. You don't want to be an investor. You just want to let them know that it's important you talk to them about the estate. And they're not going to know if, you could be an attorney. You could be somebody with a clerk of the courts. I mean, don't lie, but just leave as generic a message as possible. And you may be, as soon as you say you're a realtor on the voicemail, they're going to be associating you with every other realtor that has called them that they didn't want to talk to. If you say you're an investor, they'll associate you with every investor that's tried to steal the house. So just a generic message, hey, this is Brian. I was calling you about the estate of Bob Smith, important matter I needed to discuss with you. Give me a call when you get a chance. Very generic message like that. Try that, and I think you'll probably get a better response rate.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Perfect timing, guys, and we're coming right up on the hour. So we had nearly 100 people on this call. I want to end this call like I always do. I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you, especially those half a dozen of you, or 8 or 9 of you, I think, that actively participated. And I want to challenge each of you, take one thought, one idea, one thing you heard on this call,